Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's Lunch and Learn. I'm Lauren Smith with the International Franchise Association, and we have a great 30 minutes lined up for you. Before we begin, I would like to let everyone know that we are recording today's webinar and will make it available later this evening on community.franchise.org. If you have any questions for today's speaker, please add them to the chat box and they will be addressed toward the end. Today's topic is Brand Control to Major Tom, 8 Protocols for Out-of-This-World Franchise Marketing, and it is brought to us by Uberall. Here to provide today's discussion is Alyssa Trenkamp, VP of Brand Marketing and Communications at Uberall. Thank you all for joining us today, and thank you to Uberall for sponsoring today's Lunch and Learn. I'll go ahead and turn things over to you, Alyssa.
All right, thanks. Thank you all for joining today. We have a really packed and fun agenda for you today. We're going to talk about brand control. Obviously, that's what it's about. And is it possible? We'll talk about how to channel your brand experience on a local level, and then we'll get into the meat of the presentation, protocols for franchise marketing success, and then we'll wrap up with some Q&A. So let's get started. Brand control, is it possible? So I think as marketers, we all know those powerful, that word of mouth marketing is super powerful, right? It's a powerful way to spread our brands. And we all strive for those words. I want what she's having, right? We want to have people talking about our brands and sharing and getting other people to like and follow along and enjoy our brand as well, in whatever form it might be, whether it's a product or food or service. But it's also a little scary, right? Because we can't always control what people say about our brands. And that's because it's no longer Don Draper's world. We all know Mad Men and Don Draper and the kind of romanticized time of the advertising age, where there were these really cool campaign concepts that these ad agencies would dream up. They would put them out and broadcast them out through one-to-many channels. It was very controlled and predictable, and you knew what you were getting, right? You had print ad, radio, TV, pretty simple. But today's media world does not look like that at all, right? It's much, much more complex. As a brand, we can sort of control the concept or the creative campaigns that we come up with. But at that point, it's a free-for-all, right? You've got experiences happening on all different levels. And for this presentation, we're going to focus a little bit more on the online experience. So kind of looking at that note on the right corner there, we know there's a few things we can control, like our brand domain. We know we own that, we can control the content there, so it's safe and comfortable. But there's a lot of other things in this whole online experience world we can no longer control. Specifically, when you look at things like social and review platforms, this is where it gets a little scary. People have experiences with your brand every day, and they're going to share what that experience is like, good or bad. And that's where it can be a little nerve-wracking. But as a brand, we can control the experience and make sure that experience is seamless from start to finish, and hopefully impress our customers enough to share great things about our brand. So as scary as this two-way media world is, it also leads to a lot of opportunities for brands that can get it right and really create those great, delightful customer experiences that people want to share and tell others about. So let's talk about what we can't control, right? We can't control what people think of our brand. So once an idea is implanted in their heads, it's kind of stuck there. So Colgate, they love this example. Colgate decided to launch a frozen food line, right? And frozen food, Colgate, that definitely, or food and Colgate just don't go hand in hand. When you think Colgate, you think toothpaste, and toothpaste and food, not that appetizing, right? So this was a huge fail, but it just goes to show how strongly this brand is implanted in our head. And it's hard to shake that. You can't really shake that. So once people get an idea of your brand, it's kind of there. The other thing we can't control is what other people say about our brand. So this is Sarah Russo. She is the founder of World Nutella Day. And Sarah does not work for Nutella. She was 12 years old when she first experienced Nutella. Her family took her to Italy. She tried it for the first time, fell in love, thought this was the greatest thing, right? And then she came back to the US and found that Nutella didn't exist in the US, which was disappointing. But eventually it launched here in the US. And she was very excited and decided, hey, I want to bring other people along for the journey of my passion for Nutella. And so she started this fan club, called it World Nutella Day, and got everyone sharing recipes and how they enjoyed their Nutella. When Nutella found out about Sarah, they decided to issue her cease and desist letter, actually, which is crazy because here Sarah is doing all this content marketing for free and evangelizing the Nutella brand in the US market. But Nutella doesn't see the value here. Eventually, they pulled back on that and embraced Sarah as an influencer. But it just goes to show that these influencers or voices that are sharing your brand locally can be a super powerful thing. And if we can embrace that and channel our experiences through these people, it can be very, very powerful. So let's talk a little bit, channeling your brand through localized marketing and get kind of a little bit more into the how-to. That was a fun setup, but let's get into the meat of it. So when we think about local marketing, there's two spectrums. There's like highly corporate owned, where corporate owns and really manages it from the corporate marketing side. And that is a very valuable thing, right? Because corporate marketing can provide economies of scale. You've got these people in corporate that know how to market, they're experts, they know what they're doing, right? So there's definitely value in having some things owned by your corporate team. But then there's the other spectrum, highly localized. And there's value in this too, right? There's local owners and operators that know your local market like no one else, right? So they understand, can create an authentic voice. There's going to be some elements of your local marketing strategy that are going to be better executed at the local level. And so when we talk to a lot of our clients in the franchise market, we find that they really think of these things on kind of the spectrum. And this is not by any means how all clients operate, but it just gives you a sense that there's maybe some things that are a little bit more suited for corporate controlled and some things that are a little more suited for localized, highly localized. So an obvious thing, local events. You're not going to have your corporate team run local events, right? Your local operators are going to know all the festivals and community things that are happening, and they're going to be opt to say, hey, look, I want to go sponsor this community festival and put up a booth and get our brand out there. And you as a corporate team are going to support that, right? And you're going to let them kind of lead the way and decide what makes sense in their markets. But on the other side, something like local SEO might be better to be corporate owned, right? Because local SEO with tools like Uberall and other tools like Uberall can be really efficiently managed at a corporate level. You can easily make sure all the location data is updated and hours are consistent. So that can be a really efficient thing to own more on the corporate side. There are some things in between, right? Social and reviews can, for example, be a little bit of a mixed ownership. So I'm going to take you through an example of this from the social perspective, but just know that obviously all those channels are kind of up for discussion. And I'll give you some examples. So first of all, Crumble Cookie. If you don't know this brand, you probably don't have teenagers in your house. I have two of them, and they are huge TikTok fans. This is a TikTok-born brand. But Crumble Cookie has this model where they're a franchise business. They post 6 new cookie flavors every week and get their fans like anxiously awaiting for these new cookies. They have TikTok videos that show these ooey gooey, amazing looking cookies that you just want to go out and buy like right now. And they're addictive and they're expensive, but they've got a good model and it's working for them. But they are very corporate driven in terms of their social campaigns. They have a great model with these 6 cookie releases every week. They post across all local pages, the same content. It's very consistent and it works for them. And could they benefit from more localized content? Maybe. I had a Crumble open up in my neighborhood just a month ago or so, and they didn't do anything about the grand opening. They didn't show any spotlights on the franchise owner, nothing. So it could be nice to have a little bit of local flavor, but they don't. They have it locked down for now, which in some senses, because they're a newer franchise business, might make sense, right? They've got a model, it's working for them. They don't want to shake it up too much. So that's where they're at. It works for them. And maybe they're a little unique on the spectrum of being far left right now. Then you've got still corporate owned, but a lightly localized, right? So Pinch a Penny Pool, Patio and Spa is a franchise business that runs out of the Southeast area of the United States. They have about 350 locations across Texas, Atlanta, and other Southeastern markets that, where you would want a pool all year round. But they do a localized approach where they take the burden of the marketing off of their franchise owners, but still try to give that local flavor. So you'll see a lot of posts across all of their local pages that have some localization, like this one, Happy 4th of July from your West McKinney Pinch a Penny. And you'll see this post across every page on the 4th of July, right? Something similar will come out this 4th of July. This is from last year. But this is the type of content they do. They take the burden off, but they still try to give that local flavor with their posts. The next model is more enabled campaigns. So this is where you might provide your franchise for your franchisees with some templates that they can use and repurpose and localize. And you might also allow them to suggest posts that they'd like to do in their market and get approval for doing some unique things. So in this case, I'm showing Texas Roadhouse. It's a steakhouse that isn't quite a franchise, but they do have ownership at a local level. So they have kind of that mixed operating model. But Texas Roadhouse really embraces their local owners to get out there in the community and do things and share that on social. So this is, they're out there donating food for a cause and sharing how their team is out there celebrating. I think this is a nursing program. The other one, this is another client of ours, Smoothie King. Again, same sort of model. They have a mix of a lot of corporate content, but then local content as well. And they really embrace their local owners and operators getting out there in the community. In this case, they're celebrating a volleyball win for the local high school, and they're all celebrating with Smoothie King smoothies after the big win. So this is an enabled localized campaign approach. And then on the very right-hand side, you've got highly localized. In this example, I'm giving an insurance company because insurance typically tends to be very decentralized, especially when you get to like an independent agent model. So in this case, Farmers really gives their local agents kind of free reign to post what they want on their social pages. And they offer some templates like this right-hand Father's Day image of the dad opening the gift with his kids. That's clearly homemade. We love that. It's something that corporate provided, but on the left, you've got something that one of the local agents dreamed up on her own and probably got a little crafty with her design Adobe skills or something, and had some fun. So I think this is a good time to open it up for a poll, because we want to kind of get a sense of where you are all on this scale. So you'll see a poll on your screen with some questions. We want to know, where are you today on a scale of corporate control versus highly localized? So take a minute and we'll see what the audience says. So Lauren, I'll wait for you when you think there's enough responses for us to reveal the results.
Perfect. I'll give it just a little bit more time.
Okay, great. No worries.
Awesome. So it does look like everyone has answered. So we actually had 0% say highly corporate controlled. We had about 22% say corporate campaigns lightly localized. 61% said somewhere in between. 17% said localized at franchisee level, but with guidelines in place, and 0% said highly localized.
Interesting. That's kind of exactly where we see things falling out. So that's really interesting. It definitely has benefits on both sides. And I think no one model is perfect for everything, like we talked about. So this is interesting to see and gives me some context as I go through the presentation. So let's keep going. Protocols for out of this world franchise marketing. And so we're doing a countdown, 8 to 1 to liftoff to franchise marketing success, since this is a space theme presentation, if you will. So that's why the numbers are going backwards, if you're wondering. So let's get into it. So first of all, I'm not going to spend a lot of time here because we all know this, right? You need to establish brand guidelines and communicate that with your franchisees of why they're important and necessary. So these are just a few big brands that we all know and love, Crumbl being kind of the new kid on the block, but they all have different great brands that I love and put them on here. So Adidas, obviously iconic with their 3 stripes, and they have such a great foundation that it's easy to create this personalized spinoff of create your own me Adidas. Same with Starbucks, great foundational brand. They do their holiday cups every year. We love those. 7-Eleven, iconic brand. We know it, we love it. We know these colors. We think 7-Eleven. Crumbl cookie, obviously these little pink boxes are just like this exclusivity. You get this pink box with a cookie and you know you have something special. So they've got that Tiffany & Co. kind of brand going on, if you will. But a good brand is really, really important and valuable, and it evokes emotion for our customers, right? So the more we can impress upon our franchisees that it's important to use the brand wherever possible, because it only builds credibility with your audience and helps you drive. I mean, that's why they bought into the franchise model, obviously, because of the brand that you have. So that's an important piece, is reminding them that brand is so important. And then along with brand is also voice. A brand, how it looks is one thing, but how it sounds is a whole nother thing. And we know voice is also about your personality, your brand personality. So really important that your brand voice comes through. Tone is situational. We all know that. And it's contextual. So if, for example, the COVID time period, we all changed our tone when we started talking to our customers, whatever channel it was. Our tone was very different in March 2020 than it was in December 2019, right? So tone is situational. Again, just impressing upon your franchisees that this is important to uphold the brand and think about those brand guidelines whenever they're communicating with their local customers. Number 7, provide content libraries and templates. So again, this is think about this depending on if you're central or localized. This is going to vary, but again, I'm providing some guidelines for things that are a little bit more suited for your localized franchise marketing. So keep that in mind as I'm talking through this and making it easy for them, right? So first of all, content libraries. And what I'll point out here is when you're thinking about building content libraries, it's important to make it easy for your franchisees. They're not marketers. They don't do this every day. They need it to be as simple as it can possibly be, right? So in this case, I'm showing Little Caesars. They have this great organization of their campaigns. They bucket them in different categories. So they've got their national offers, their specialty pizzas, their core menu items, their seasonal things. They even have a campaign folder around hiring, since labor shortages have been an issue for a lot of our clients in the quick moving food industry and in the restaurant and the retail industry. So there's a lot of need for those hiring campaigns. So just making it easy for your franchisee to quickly find the campaign they're looking for. You can also see the use of dynamic tags. So the city address, they don't even have to put in the city or put in any local content. It's all there right there for them. So they can just click one and send it within a few seconds. So my tip on this is make it as easy as possible. If you're not using a tool like Uberall or something like that, you obviously could and should, but even if you're not, you could still do this through Google folders or whatever you might want to do on a central level to make it easy for your franchisees to find the latest and greatest content campaigns they can use in their markets. Another area that is really great for local involvement is review responding, right? So your local operators are talking to your customers every day, and maybe they have a personal interaction that leads to a review, and them responding provides that authenticity and kind of trust in the local brand. So having them involved in some of the review responses can be really a great thing. In this area, provide some templates for them so they can quickly pick a template and decide, how to repurpose it or modify it for their specific case. But if you have a number of templates for different use cases, in this case, we're showing some celebration, positive review. So someone comes in for a birthday or an anniversary to celebrate and, writes a review about a great experience. You want to respond with something like this, and it makes it easy just to have a starting place. You can set up numerous templates in Uberall, but any place that you're doing this for your clients can work too. So number 6, make content localization easy. I'm going to cruise through this since we kind of already hit on it, but dynamic copy and making it easy. So this is both, I'll point out here that this should be both easy for your corporate marketer. So if corporate is doing all the posting, makes it so easy for them to just pick a campaign they want to run or promote, something they want to promote and market. They can literally send this out in a few minutes to thousands of locations. And then for the local franchisee owner, this is also easy because I don't have to fill in city, promo date, promo item. I don't have to worry about any of that. It's all just ready to go for me. So simple for both parties, make it easy. Number 5, establish a clear process. So we've talked about how to localize content, and you guys all know this, but just a reminder, content calendars and thinking about how to communicate with your franchisees is super important. So this can fall into those new things, new corporate campaigns, menus, products, etc. It can fall into the evergreen stuff that's kind of always on and available for your franchisees to use when there's a lull of other new stuff. Holidays, of course, there's back to school and all the fun things that you want to market around the summer and out there barbecuing, whatever it is. And then regional, depending on your business, you might be doing some marketing around some sporting seasons or sporting events, or weather might be a factor. Like, for example, Pinch a Penny always does hurricane kind of type posts talking about pool care during hurricane season and how to take care of your pool during the hurricane season. So that sort of like content that is useful and informational and helps kind of service your local customers is a great thing as well. On the process side, another thing that I'll share that we find with our clients is that they like to use social and reviews when they're opening a new location, right? So you're trying to build your brand in a new market where it may not be as well known. How do you do that, right? So social can be a great thing. We find a lot of our clients will do something like a training day or a soft launch where they want to invite like 100 people for the day to kind of work out the kinks of the operation and make sure things are running smoothly. So they'll post it on Facebook, invite people to sign up. The first 100 get a free meal and can come in for that soft launch or training day, which is a great thing. While they're there, you get them to like you on Facebook and have some incentives. You also try to get them to write reviews for you, right? You need to get some reviews right out of the gate to juice up your local SEO ranking. So these can be great ways to just promote that new location and get people in the local area familiar with your brand. Another thing that a lot of our franchisees like to use Uber for is for paid social as well. So they'll run Facebook ad campaigns in a new market just to build some awareness, especially if it's like a brand new market. I'm new in Texas, the first location in Texas. No one knows about this brand. So paid ads can really be useful when you're just trying to build the brand awareness in a new market. On the process side, so if you are asking your franchisees to suggest posts, you can create a process to make it easy for you to approve it. And tools like Uber can really help make sure this is fail safe and you don't have anything falling through the cracks. We also see a lot of our clients do things like approval workflows for requesting a creative. So if they maybe want to promote a local event, but they don't have a creative asset for it and they want something unique, they can create a process for that as well. Number 4, provide training. So I know we're going through a lot. I hope this is helpful. So on the training front, I've said this already, but we have to remember that franchisees, and you all know this, are not marketers necessarily first, right? Some of them might be, you might have those few outliers that have some marketing savvy or are good with social, but for the most part, you can't always bet that they know local marketing. And in fact, it probably scares them a little bit. So we have the stat, 63% of franchisees face challenges generating leads. So generating leads is scary. They don't know how to do it. They don't know how it works. So when we train our franchisees, we have to keep this in mind, of course. So here's a few things to think about in your training when it comes to the marketing portion of your franchisee kind of onboarding process. Local marketing 101. They just want to know how you do it. How do you generate leads locally for me and get foot traffic to my store? So educating them on local SEO and the value of reviews to help your ranking go up, and the value of local pages and the value of local social and the email campaigns and content cadence they'll have throughout the year that they can leverage or repurpose. Just the basics is really, really important. And then you provide the context on what corporate owns and what local owners can do to help. So this might vary from location to location, but things like review solicitation can be super valuable for the local owner and operator to do in their market, and will obviously increase their local SEO presence. So helping them understand the context of how one thing leads to better visibility and leads and foot traffic in their store can be really, really valuable. Where to find content, so templates and everything that they need if they want to repurpose it. Obviously, technology training, and use your vendor to help. A lot of times your vendor will go in and help train for you and come in for a session. Uber definitely does that with some of our clients. Process training, so helping them understand the process like we were talking about and how they can submit something for approval or what they need to do if they want to do something unique in their market. Of course, all good stuff. Almost through. We're down to 3. Create a community. So franchisees are really unique. You know, you've got this great opportunity. You've got this kind of built-in kind of inherent competition, right? So embrace that really and do things like review competitions. We see a lot of our clients having a lot of success here. They'll run like a 2-month campaign where they want to boost up their reviews, or a 3-month campaign, and they'll encourage everyone to get more reviews in their stores, and the franchisee that gets the most reviews gets some cool celebration for their team in their local store. So that can be really fun. You can do the same with social, with the most creative post or the post that has the highest engagement rates, things like that. And then we also see our clients do leaderboards, right? Because leaderboards are fun. And then you can bring them into your monthly meetings with your franchisees and highlight who's on top and really kind of amp the competition up. So make it a competition. And then lastly, idea generation. Good ideas can come from anywhere. Your franchisees are talking to your customers every day. Lean on them for ideas for what you could be doing in the market. Number 2, showcase what the best are doing. So that kind of goes back to the creating the community. You want to showcase what everyone's doing, get people inspired and excited. So for this section, I'm just going to show a few of our customers and what they're doing. That is pretty cool. So Texas Roadhouse, they're trying to attract a lot of employees in that kind of younger age range, so high school students. So they really celebrate milestones for their employees. So in this case, they're spotlighting their 2022 graduates. It's a fun post. It just shows how much they care about their employees, their successes, both outside of work and in the workplace. So just a fun idea. Arvis Bank is another one that is always out in the community, doing fun things, showing it on social. And then we've got Smoothie King. Smoothie King has these 2 ladies are employees of the brand. So again, really highlighting employees because they are an extension of your local brand. But these 2 ladies are off to prom. They came up to fuel up on their get their smoothie before their big prom night. And they've got their red dresses, which represent the Smoothie King color. So it's just a fun post all around. But I'll also say that Smoothie King does a really great job of also providing corporate content. So they have that nice mix of localized stuff, but also corporate content. So you've got the Drew Brees post here, Drew Brees getting his fueling up on Smoothie King. And last but not least, let's measure your impact with the right tools. So, you want a tool that when you're looking for something to help you technology-wise, you want franchise marketing tool that can help you scale, right? So you're looking for something that has the ability to control all your local data from a single source. So you have accurate data everywhere around the web. You really want a mobile app. Look for a solution that has a mobile app because your franchisees are on the go and they often don't have time to sit down on a desktop and respond to reviews. So having the ability to do that right from their phone or click a picture on their launch day or their grand opening and be able to just share that right from their phone is a pretty great thing. Optimizing your local ad budgets, you want to be able to do that with your platform, and analyzing KPIs across all your locations should just be a no-brainer. So with that, we have liftoff success, and we've made it. Free resources here. I'm going to have IFA follow up when they follow up with recording. We'll make sure you get some of these free resources packed in that can help. We've got a franchise marketing guide, basically a brand template, a brand to franchise campaign template that you can use for your market, and we'll also send some local SEO tips. And with that, I'll open it up to questions. I know we don't have a lot of time, Lauren, but anything that I can answer for the audience, I'm happy to.
Thank you so much, Alyssa. It does look like we've had a couple questions come in. Out of all these areas, SEO, reviews, social, which ones are the highest priority to get started with?
That's a really good question. I would say, local SEO is sort of a foundation. So you got to get that right with your local listings in order. And then you build from there, right? So reviews obviously juice up your local SEO as well as social. So I would probably focus on local SEO and getting that right as a foundational thing first, if you're going to put any time anywhere.
Awesome. Looks like we have time for maybe one more question. Do you have any advice on how to prioritize types of campaigns for franchisees? Is it more important to run corporate level campaigns or very, very localized ones like campaigns for store openings or promotions?
That is a really good question. It's going to depend on the franchise model a bit, but I think you've got to, one of the things I would say that our most successful franchisees or franchise organizations do is they have a nice base of corporate content that can be localized if you want. So you always have content and you appear relevant to anyone who's looking at your local social pages or your local campaign content. So keep the baseline with the corporate content first and then layer on the local flavor and hopefully get your local operators involved in helping kind of inspire some ideas there. So that's what I would do.
Awesome. And just one more. Can you add more detail on listings and getting them SEO optimized? How do I get started on that?
So we have I will definitely will send that local SEO guide, because I didn't spend a lot of time there, but Uber has a ton of recommendations there. So we know that there's quite a few factors that really help boost your local visibility. Those include reviews, so review responses and number of reviews. There's lots of review singles, replies to reviews. All of those things factor into local ranking. Things like your local pages and signals for search engines really help as well. So making sure your local pages are truly optimized. Consistency of your listings is really, really important. So making sure your information is consistent everywhere across the web. That's why that single source of truth that I mentioned is really, really important. So all your data and listings information is consistent is another really big one. And there's others too. So when I send those SEO tips over, that'll give you guys some good context.
Great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much. It looks like that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much, Alyssa. This is excellent content and excellent feedback from all of you. We really do appreciate it. Again, this webinar was recorded, and along with the presentation deck will appear on our website early this evening. You'll be able to find that at community.franchise.org. Thank you very much again to Alyssa and the Uberall team. And again, thank you to everyone for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day and stay safe and healthy. Bye.